Our story kicks off with Kogarashi, a high school guy with some seriously awesome powers. Not only can he see spirits that wander around our world, but he can also take them down with just one solid punch. So, with no fear of any ghost or demon, Kogarashi decides to move into this super cheap but haunted inn called Yuragi. But as soon as he settles in, he realizes the resident ghost there is actually a high school girl who died years ago in that same inn. She's totally shocked that Kogarashi can see her crystal clear. For once, it's Kogarashi who's caught off guard. Though it's not all bad. It helps that the ghost is pretty cute. Moments later, Chitos, the innkeeper, wakes up and welcomes Kogarashi to his new home. Soon, more residents start popping up, like Nonko, who invites Kogarashi for a drink as her way of saying hi. But her revealing clothes only make Kogarashi embarrassed. Then Sagiri shows up, introducing herself by attacking and threatening him. Luckily, Yaya interrupts, jumping out from under Kogarashi's blanket and licking his cheek. After meeting his new quirky roommates, Kogarashi quickly realizes that a haunted inn is basically the only place for people this weird to live. Things only get weirder when Kogarashi reaches his room and finds a ghost awkwardly stuck in the wall. After a bit of a mix-up, the ghost introduces herself as Yuuna, Kogarashi's new roommate. Yuuna explains that she was just trying to hide from him so he wouldn't get freaked out and run away like all the previous tenants. Despite their rocky start, Yuuna tells him how happy she is to finally meet someone who can see her as she really is, not as some scary ghost. Kogarashi looks at Yuuna and starts wondering how he could ever get rid of such a sweet ghost, even though he knows he easily could. Sensing his hesitation, Yuuna reassures him gently that she has no intention of haunting or hurting him. She explains how long she's been alone and how glad she is to finally talk to a regular person. After hearing this, even though he's shy about rooming with a cute girl, Kogarashi agrees to be Yuuna's roommate. Later that night, neither of them can fall asleep, each with their own worries. Kogarashi opens up about his past, explaining how he was once possessed by evil spirits and trained with a spirit medium to learn how to fight them and save his life. Suddenly, Yuuna spots a mouse, screams, and sends the whole room flying. Feeling embarrassed by her outburst, Yuuna apologizes and helps put Kogarashi and the room back to normal. But in an accidental move, Kogarashi loses his balance and falls on Yuuna, unintentionally touching something he definitely shouldn't have. Yuuna, furious about what just happened, uses all her strength to toss Kogarashi out of the inn, and he lands right in the nearby river. A strange monk passing by catches the whole scene of Kogarashi flying through the air and splashing down. The next day, Kogarashi is excited about finding a part-time job to finally gain some independence. Meanwhile, Yuuna, feeling bad about how she treated Kogarashi last night, hopes they can still become friends. Suddenly, the same monk who saw Kogarashi in the river shows up in Yuuna's room and tries to send her off to the next world. Kogarashi, deep in thought, remembers his master's words. If a spirit stays in the human world too long, it risks turning into a demon and eventually going to hell. A moment later, Kogarashi reaches his room and sees the monk forcing Yuuna to leave this world. He thinks maybe it would be better for her to move on rather than end up in hell. But Yuuna, still holding on to her dreams, begs for more time. Moved by Yuuna's courage and determination, Kogarashi decides to help her. With one strong punch, he knocks the monk out cold and promises Yuuna he'll do whatever it takes to help her fulfill her dreams and eventually find peace in heaven. Overjoyed, Yuuna thanks him and promises to always be his loyal friend. But then, suddenly, the monk gets up again. Kogarashi pushes Yuuna back, but in doing so, he accidentally touches something he shouldn't, and this time, he ends up thrown out of the room, landing straight in the hot springs right when the other girls are about to enter. Sagiri, angry at Kogarashi, challenges him to prove his manliness so she can defeat him. As he's getting scolded, Yuuna smiles, hoping that despite all these misunderstandings, they can become good friends. The next morning, Kogarashi tries to explain again, but a blushing Yuuna only makes things more awkward, leading to even more misunderstandings and making Sagiri want to take him down once again. Nonko, on the other hand, forgives him, admiring his ability to keep his manly instincts under control. This only makes Sagiri even more determined to fight him. But their chaotic morning gets even crazier when the monk from the day before returns, this time with more people, all intent on sending Yuuna and the other residents to the next world. However, these monks are in for a surprise. The residents of the Yuragi Inn are anything but ordinary, and they won't go down without a fight. Sagiri reveals herself as a skilled ninja specializing in exorcising evil spirits, and, apparently, monks too. Nanko is an insanely strong monster whose powers get even greater the more she drinks. And Yaya? Turns out, she's possessed by a powerful cat god she can summon anytime she wants. The three of them easily overpower the monks. But the monks don't give up and vow they'll return for revenge. So, Chitos uses her powers to grant them some good fortune as a farewell gift. Suddenly, they start getting calls about high-paying jobs, true love, and even winning the lottery. The monks thank Chitos and promise not to bother her again, totally unaware that all their future luck is going down the drain without Chitos's powers. Kogarashi, watching all this, realizes if he doesn't keep his distance from these crazy girls, he might end up in the afterlife before Yuuna does. But his troubles aren't over that night. Yuuna, who sleepwalks, accidentally sits on his face and, embarrassed, throws him out. Unfortunately, Sagiri sees this whole scene and is now more determined than ever to kill Kogarashi. The next morning, thanks to all the misunderstandings, Sagiri and Yaya team up to kick Kogarashi out of the inn. But according to the inn's rules, all fights have to be settled with a game of ping pong. The winner gets to make the loser do anything they want. But Kogarashi hates ping pong, and his teammate Yuuna has no idea how to play. When the game starts, Kogarashi skillfully returns Yaya's crazy serve and explains that he hates ping pong because a mad ping pong coach's spirit once possessed him. Sagiri, not wanting to lose, uses a ninja-like move to hit the ball back at Kogarashi. But Yuuna, without meaning to, starts thinking about an embarrassing memory with Kogarashi and hits the balls back with her spiritual powers. Seeing this, Yuuna realizes she can activate her powers by thinking of embarrassing memories and uses them to defeat her opponents. But when she runs out of embarrassing memories, she just lifts her skirt to show Kogarashi what she's wearing underneath. She gets so embarrassed that she sends the whole room spinning and throws everyone out of the inn. Still, by the end of the day, Chitos declares Kogarashi and Yuuna the winners, and Sagiri and Yaya promise not to try kicking him out again. But as Kogarashi finishes the day in peace, he slips on a ping pong ball and accidentally touches something he shouldn't, something he always wanted to. And immediately, he gets a serious beating. The next morning, Yuuna wakes up, doesn't see Kogarashi next to her, and panics thinking her sleepwalking finally drove him away. But Chitos calms her down, saying Kogarashi just went to his new school. But when Kogarashi arrives at school, he's shocked to find Yuuna's followed him there. Thankfully, no one else can see her. Still, Yuuna's so excited to be back in school that she accidentally lifts the skirt of Chisaki, the most popular girl. Chisaki thinks Kogarashi lifted her skirt, and the whole class sees him as a total creep. Later in class, Kogarashi introduces himself to everyone, seriously telling them he can see spirits and even has one following him. Naturally, his classmates think he's a complete weirdo. Except for Chisaki, who seems a bit interested. After school, Chisaki goes to Kogarashi for help, explaining that her dolls have been randomly flying around her room. She's scared of these creepy doll antics and doesn't dare tell anyone else because no one would believe her. But Kogarashi believes her and promises to help. When they get to Chisaki's house, she's flustered at having a guy in her room for the first time, wondering if it was really a good idea to ask a perv for help. But as Kogarashi insists he can exorcise the evil spirits from her dolls, she starts to trust his powers. Until Kogarashi starts wildly punching the dolls because that's his only way of getting rid of evil spirits, and Chisaki slaps him hard for it. Even though he compliments her punch, she officially calls him a perv and throws him out. But Kogarashi isn't discouraged and sets a trap to find out who's controlling Chisaki's dolls remotely, since he couldn't find any evil spirits while throwing his wild punches around. Thanks for sticking with me till the end of another anime summary. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked this video, please show your support by hitting the like button and leaving a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on new anime recommendations. Love you all. See you in the next video.